So somebody had asked me this morning, they said that they wish that I was happy sometimes. And maybe some people don't quite understand. And it made me realize this listening to the video I just posted with, who is that? James O'Keefe, and he's interviewing a whistleblower FBI agent. And he says something very crucial in there. He says they took an oath. There's many people for their professions that took oaths, and they just forget about it. And so for me, and I'm not going to go into the whole story because I know people that have followed me have heard me go on and on about it. But my first nursing job, I saw the highest of highest, the chief nursing officer. I didn't see it. I saw what she did to me. They made an accusation at me because I was in a union that was just voted in, and I was on the bargaining team. I think it goes deeper than that. I really do. I think it was tied to politics too. But none of because I rescinded a resignation, because what they accused me of was it would ruin somebody's career. It would ruin their life. And they knew it wasn't true. They all knew it. Most people in that building, I mean, really everybody that worked with me on my unit would say absolutely not. There was no accusation, nothing. It was all politically driven. Yet it was all the higher educated that went along with it. And the worst part about it is, fine, you want to screw me over, I'm a brand new nurse, thanks. But the hell you put me through, fine. But the chief nursing officer interrogated a 15-year-old kid to try to twist his words because she panicked when I rescinded the resignation, because they only made the accusation to get me to quit so it would scare the other nurses. That, oh no, we better not get on a bargaining team. Because we didn't have a union contract yet. I had to go all the way to the nursing board for this bullshit. Because when I rescinded my resignation, then they had to do this investigation. An investigation when there was no accusation except by the very top Sister Kathy, yes, at that facility. I know it came down from her. She was tied to politics at Springfield level in Illinois, juvenile justice, yeah. So what bothered me the most was when I was told by more than just a social worker, but by a tech, and the tech sent me the letter or what the kid wrote that this chief nursing officer did to him. She was a forensic nurse, an NP, higher educated, thought she was an expert, and she, for 2 days, brought this kid down to her office in front of the social worker. And the social worker told me it was totally obvious what she was doing. She was trying to, he said, play on her words, twist her words. And because he was a DCFS ward, he flipped the F out. Because they don't know, and like I said before, these kids, it's sad because they're looking for somebody to be a role model, but, you know, you can't expect the state to give these kids good role models. If they do come in, you get these chief nursing officers or people that do really want to help the kids, and they'll find ways so that you can't help them. But this wasn't about that. This was about the fact that I ran a good unit. I did. I was in charge nurse on adolescent boys, and they were all state wards. And the key thing here is because I cared. I did. I cared about the kids. I really wanted to see them since they didn't have parents. I wanted to see as many of them go on to have successful lives, not be statistics. But they knew better than I did how they're up against a beast because the state doesn't want them to do well. So when the most highest of educated, my chief nursing officer, does shit like this, and then I've gone on to see how magnet, the profession of nursing at the top, everything they focus, it's not about helping people, not in psych, okay? And they don't seem to care about the quality of care a nurse provides. That should be the most important thing, not how many damn letters she has after her name. Because I swear to God, the people that have the most letters after their name, not all of them, but in the nursing profession, seem to just have a lack of any moral compass and empathy. Now, most people, because I've had it said to me, would be like, that was 12 years ago. Let it go, Bethany. No, I did. I tried. But this was the most vulnerable population. And all that went through my mind is that if they did it to him, how many others did they do this to? They don't care about how. I could never do that to a kid, okay? All to save my own ass. And then she traumatized him. She did. He tore the unit apart. He tore the ceiling tiles out of the ceiling. If it wasn't for that one tech that like took him under her wing and protected him, every time that chief nursing officer came on the unit, it would have been a disaster. And then they screwed this kid over. He wanted to get in treatment. Finally, the state let him go to a 28-day program. Finally, because they don't want to let the kids go to those programs where I know they can get help, especially like he was somebody that wanted the help because he was so young and he had a little boy. And he wouldn't tell the state that, but he did. His girlfriend and family was raising his little boy. And he didn't want to be like his dad. And he didn't want his kid to see like he saw his dad in prison. So they finally let him go to a 28-day program. Like I said, this is over 12 years ago. And then the treatment center said they recommended to the state that he go to a sober living home for a year. That he would have been golden. The state said no. They let him go to this 28-day program, and then they turned around and put him back in the drug den residential where he was at. So I know that the state doesn't give a shit about any of these kids, and they make sure that every chief nursing officer they put in and every manager is just as depraved as all of them. I mean, this is a nun that runs this place. She's still running the place, and she was behind all this. Her and her lawyer interrogating me, and of course the American Nurses Association nurse sat there, really did nothing. He just sat there. It's like, could you like open your mouth and defend me? Like, because you should be standing up against this. They emotionally abused a 15-year-old kid. Because the union was the ones that told me to rescind the resignation and they would fight it. Then he never fought it. And then I had to go to the federal level to fight. It was just, and all during this, okay? And I had to go before the nursing board and nothing came of it because this place couldn't make the case because there never was an accusation and they lied their asses off. Because they did an investigation, it means they have to send it to the state. So then 2 years later, the state is saying I have to come before them. I never did a fucking thing wrong. Yet I had to pay all this money, had to go through all this bullshit, all because of a bunch of weak nurses that should have had their licenses removed, okay? They should have. This wasn't just a mistake. And yet I've seen it, I've seen it with the most vulnerable. Nobody cares. So yeah, I've heard everybody say let it go, but you can't let that go. Like, I'm a nurse. I took an oath to do everything I could to advocate, to protect. So yeah, it may be 12 years later and people may think, yeah, you're just always upset. Yeah, I am. I have a lot of, it's not resentment, but I just have a lot of, no, I'm never going to let it go because it was the most innocent. This kid had no guardians. Think about all of the kids they would do shit like this to. And that was the least of it, right? Most people would think, oh, okay, so he got mad. No, he knew she was trying to manipulate him. And here's the thing. These kids know that most of these psych nurses and these psych doctors don't give a shit about them. Not the ones in the system. Because he had said to me, he said, and it bothered me. It still bothers me. How he said, you're unfamiliar. These kids are more used to hearing what jerk-offs they are, what losers they are. That's what they hear from nurses like that do stuff like that. They're horrible people. And they go on to be forensic nurses at University of Illinois, Chicago. And Illinois Nurses Association didn't do the right thing. So many people didn't do the right thing. And if you didn't want to do the right thing by me, that you were screwing me over. But I don't know how any of them lived with themselves. I don't. So there's a reason. It's that I'm just determined that, you know what, even if you get away with all of it in this life, I'll guarantee you and this goes for all of us, we all eventually have to pay for the things we don't make right.